Hi, my name is Cam Smith. Welcome back to another edition of Roadmap to Success. Today we'll be speaking with Dr. Don Bohannon about midline approaches to thoracic epidurals. I know there's a number of people that prefer midline approaches and some people prefer paramedian, so through this discussion series we'll be tackling both. Talk a little about advantages and disadvantages of each.
All right. Prep is on. Make sure you do not go back to the table, your sterile table with your prep. If you want a tablecloth, so to speak, you can take the white paper drape that you cover your stuff with, and you can put that down before you do your sterile drape. Sterile drape goes on. It's got two strips at the top that you can peel if you feel it's necessary to help secure the drape. Otherwise, it folds down and actually stays in a really nice position. It's my puncture site. This is T89. I'm on the spinous process of 9. And I'm going to anesthetize the skin. And I have a 25 gauge 3.5 inch spinal needle if the patient's body habitus demands it. You also can measure the depth from the skin to the epidural space with an ultrasound, again, if the patient's body habitus commands it. Small pinch and liberal, local. I'm going to change and add the spinal needle in this patient. More pressure. Injecting as I go. And there's a little bit of periosteum there. So again, I'm going to inject as I come out. Take my needle and go over by my needle box. The next thing I need is my TUI needle. I hold it in a fashion where I bring the needle into the heel of my hand. Long finger holds it down, thumb holds it steady, and index finger then becomes my depth gauge. This is a much firmer grip I found. And then my initial depth gauge is met by my finger. I remove the stylet. Loss resistant syringe. I use a uniform or a repeatable 2 cc's of air so that the feel is the same for me. I put my left hand on the patient's back and I drive with my right hand, index finger and thumb on the flange. As I advance, my left hand is my brake. Just a small tap each time is a uniform amount of pressure. It's repeatable. Notice what a short distance my thumb travels to do my repeated taps. It feels like that's in the ligament. There it is. Epidural space is located easily. My catheter is ready to go. I have it over on my table where I've already pull it out. The starter is out. I hold it in my left hand. This is advancing very easily. Once the 20 centimeter mark goes into the bevel, I begin to push in with the catheter and pull back with the needle. Push in with the catheter, pull back with the needle. And then at skin, I take the rest of the catheter out of the coil, and I put the coil back on the table and just pull this through. And I'm actually at 14 at the skin. And we have our patient, we're on a monitor, and we'll do a little test dose containing lidocaine with epinephrine. Of course, we're looking for heart rate changes based on the lidocaine with epinephrine. The catheter connector open to gravity, so I'm confident that I'm not in the subarachnoid space. And then easily and steadily inject 3 cc's of 1.5% saline, 1.5% lidocaine with epinephrine. And I ask the patient to tell me if you feel differently in the next 2 to 3 minutes. If anything changes from what you felt up to this point, let me know. I don't care what it is. If anything feels different than what you felt in the last 5 minutes. And I recap this in a sterile manner on the field. And we use an adhesive. What do I do with them? We use a skin prep, which one protects the skin and helps the dressing adhere. And then I will pass this underneath, and in this case, we're going to pass it up the left side. We normally pass things up the left side in respect for the possibility of the need to place lines on the patient in the operating room, so that preserves the right side. If you have adhesive placed, then you can make a nice J-loop on the skin, and the adhesive will hold it. We use a dressing called Sorbaview. It has a window surrounded by a Metapore tape, which is kind to the skin. And we dress it so that we can see our insertion site, and we can check it on rounds every day. So that goes down like that. And this comes out the top. Side. And then there's the opportunity to just peel the back off, and it sticks. I put a little loop of catheter or two under here, and then I stick the stat lock on top of a tegaderm. And now it's dressed. It's ready to connect to the infusion pump, and that's how I do a midline thoracic epidural. Thanks for your time. We appreciate you looking at raeducation.com, and we hope we can be of help to you in the future.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Bohannon. That's a lot for us to think about midline approaches and how they can be best used. Thanks for joining us. If you've got any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to me at any point. I can be reached at faq@raeducation.com. Thanks very much. We'll see you again next time.